Okay, I screwed that up. I accidentally stopped the video, so I'm going to have to post 2 videos today. I didn't hit pause, I hit stop, so I screwed that up. But as I was working with this, I think I took the wrong approach. I don't think we need to do this. I think we need to erase this. And if you've had me for algebra in the past, you know that whenever there's a fraction in a function, I tell you to clear the fraction. Well, that's what we're going to do here. What is the common denominator of x squared and x? The common denominator is x squared. So I'm going to rewrite the problem. Minus 11 over x plus 30 over x squared. And I'm going to multiply through both sides by x squared over 1. Okay? Now, you don't have to say x squared over 1, but since I got fractions in here, I'm going to say x squared over 1. I'm multiplying by the common denominator. And I'm going to multiply all the way through. So I'm going to put x squared over 1, x squared over 1, x squared over 1, and x squared over 1. And then I'm going to multiply by the black numbers, which would be 0, equals 30 over x squared plus 11 over x minus 1 over 1. And of course, what happens? Well, what happens is we get x squared minus 11x plus 30 is equal to 0. And of course, now you can just use 5 and 6. Use your reverse FOIL. So x, 5, 6. That's going to be a -6 and a -5 equals 0. So our vertical asymptotes are 5 and 6. That should be your answer. I don't know how they want it written in, but 5 comma 6 or parentheses 5 comma 6, something like that. So I'll see if I can type it in and see. It says use a comma, so 5 comma 6. Nice work, Hubert. I feel good about myself. Okay. Next question is 4.3, number 3, number 2. All right, this one says, the graph of a rational function is given. Use the graph to give the solution set for the following. Okay, here's the graph right here. Let me get rid of this for a second. Okay, this is basically you're looking at a graph. Let me do this. No, I can't do it because, all right, there's the graph. I wish they'd make it a little bit better. We know that the vertical asymptote is the y-axis. The y-axis, which means x is equal to 0. And the horizontal asymptote is 1. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, just from we're not even doing the problem, but just from this graph, we know that the horizontal asymptote, let me move this out of the way. We know that the horizontal asymptote is equal to y is equal to 1. Okay? We know the vertical asymptote is x is equal to 0. All right? Now, to have a vertical asymptote, we know that the function has to have a denominator. Okay? And we know that we can't put 0 in the denominator. So the reason we know that is because of the rules that we talked about all through algebra. You can't have 0 in the denominator. You can't have this. And that's what this is saying. X cannot equal 0, which gives us a vertical what? A vertical asymptote. So we know that we've got a rational or a fraction. We know that. Okay? So it could be f of x is equal to x minus or 1 over x, something like that. We also know that it's got a horizontal asymptote of y is equal to 1. So that means the coefficient is equal to 1 for the horizontal asymptote. We know that the coefficient is equal to 1, or we know that when you divide, you get basically 1. Okay, so that's a possibility of two things. So just a little bit about the function. We know it's going to be radical, but it's asking, where is the function equal to 0? Well, we talked about that. When the function is equal to 0, let's say that this is a function is equal to 0. If the function is equal to 0, that means y is equal to 0. If y is equal to 0, that means the x-intercept. Okay? This function does not cross the x-intercept. All right? It doesn't cross the x-intercept. Yeah, it does. I'm sorry. Right here. At 2. X is equal to negative 2. So you would say the x-intercept is negative 2. All right? Sorry about that. Okay? Where is the function less than 0? So if the function is less than 0, that means it's less than 0. That means the function is below the x-axis. Okay? So where is the function below the x-axis from 0 to negative 2? Right here. I'll highlight it for you. From 0 to negative 2, right there, that blue line right there, it's below the x-axis. And you remember, the range is the only thing in the y-axis, so you're going to have to put it in terms of x, and that would be from negative 2 to 0. So from, I'll take it in blue, from right here to right here, right in this blue area right here, the x values, the function is decreasing. So negative 2 to 0. You don't include negative 2 or 0 because that's touching the x-axis and you can't touch the y-axis, so you can't include negative 2 and 0. Where is the function greater than 0? That means when is it above the x-axis? Well, it's above the x-axis from negative infinity to 2. Negative infinity to 2. And you can't include 2 because that's on the x-axis. And then from 0 to what? To infinity. And they don't overlap, so that means that is a union. Okay? It says from 0 to 2. Oh, I'm sorry. I messed up. I said above the x-axis, above the vertical asymptote. That's where you got to watch out. I messed up. See, I'm used to thinking just like y'all are. This is the y-axis, but that's not. The y-axis on here is right here. So where is it above? From 0 to infinity, really. But I still don't understand why they get in 2. From 0 to 2, it's above the... Okay, I don't understand that last one. Oh, that's not the right answer. Okay, it should be from 0 to infinity. Okay, that's where it's above this line right here. Let me draw a red line. This line right here is our new x-axis because that's where the line converges. You can't use, see, I was using the x-axis. You can't use the x-axis. That's what you use when it hasn't been moved. You use the x-axis. But when the horizontal asymptote goes up 1, your new origin and your new x-axis is that red line right here. So, where is the blue line above this red line? From 0 to infinity, it's above the red line. Okay? And that's how you answer those questions. I believe this answer is not correct. And I kept looking at 0 too. I thought that was the right answer, like this one, because it's got the little thing there. And this one. So if I plug in, I'm going to plug it in, and it should be correct. 0 to infinity. Maybe that'll work. So I'm going to put in 0 to infinity. And hit enter. Negative infinity to negative 2. Okay, then I was correct. Okay, I was correct at the beginning. I'm sorry. This wrong answer down here messed me up. I thought the answer was 0 and 2, and I changed. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. Let me explain that to you. I messed up. It's better if let me just do this. This is what I should have done in the first place. Okay, now. Okay, they asked the first thing. Let me move it over a little bit. The first thing they ask is, when is f of x equal to 0? When is y equal to 0? Okay, I'm going to go over it again. Y is equal to 0 is your x-intercept. And what I should have done, I'm going to take a green marker. Here is your x-intercept. Okay, and that's what this means. Remember when you learned graphing and you said y is equal to 0? Well, when y is equal to 0, you basically got the x-intercept. Okay? So y is equal to 0 is the x-intercept. Where is the x-intercept in this function? The x-intercept is at negative 2 and 0. And that one was correct, because it had the little red corner. Okay? The second question says, I'll do it in blue. Not blue, I want to do it in blue. Let me do it in magenta. Let's do it in magenta. Okay, magenta says, when is the function below the x-axis? So you need to write that down, below the x-axis. When is y below the x-axis? Well, it's below the x-axis from here to here, because it keeps going. This keeps going. So it's never going to cross that. So here is where the function is below the x-axis. So that is from negative 2 to 0. It is not inclusive. Okay? It's not inclusive because this function never touches 0. It converges on to 0. And this is the x-axis, and if you include to negative 2, you're saying it's below the x-axis, and it can't be. It's on the x-axis. So your answer here is negative 2 to 0. And that was correct. And it had a little red thing. What messed me up was, on the last one, I thought I answered it correctly, which I did, and it had that 0 and 2 there, but it wasn't the right answer, and I thought that was the right answer. That's why I got messed up. Okay, so I'm going to do this in brown or orange. We'll do it in orange. Okay, so they want to know, when is the function, when is y greater than 0, meaning above the x-axis. And this is what I did at the beginning, and I thought I was right, but I looked at the wrong answer, and I thought that was the right answer, because the previous two. Oh, I'll shut up. Anyway, when is the function above the x-axis? It's above here, and it's above the x-axis here. And this is what I said in my first answer. Okay, so this arrowhead right here is called negative infinity. So negative infinity to what? Negative 2. But I do not touch 2. So that would be a parenthesis there and a parenthesis here. So negative infinity to 2 with parentheses. Then I start at 0 and I go to, this arrowhead is called positive infinity. I go to positive infinity. So that's it. So the orange is above the x-axis. So that would be from negative infinity to negative 2. And then it's a union because they don't overlap. and then from 0 to infinity. And that's what I had the first time. Okay? The problem is when I looked at the answer, when I looked at this answer that had, well now it has the correct answer, but a while ago it had -2 and 0. When it had that answer, I thought it was right because these two were right. But these two have, these are the right answers because it has that. Now this one has the, so if it had this, I wouldn't have went on and done something different. So I guess I'm just stupid. All right? So that should be your answer. And as you see, it is our answer, -2, -2, and 0 to -2, and yeah, there it is right there. Okay, so I'm sorry I kind of messed y'all up on that one, but I'm a teacher, I'm human, I don't walk on water, so I make mistakes too. The worst thing about a teacher making a mistake is one that makes a mistake and won't admit they made a mistake. All right, so if you have that, that should help you with these three. And the last two videos that I've shot, I think I've done 4.1, 4.2, and a little before 4.3. You should be able to ascertain from that, you know, how to find the domain, how to find the range. And again, we're talking about functions that are either a radical function or a rational function. So you're going to have to set the denominator equal to 0, or you're going to have to set the radicand equal to 0. And I covered that in the first video of virtual office hours. This video will be 2. The first question that I accidentally hit stop, and then this video that has 2 questions. But I'll try to put that on YouTube today.